we moved around a lot. So I was born in Canada, and then moved to England when I was about 7 years old, and you had a whole different types of ingredients. I mean, North America, famously, and certainly back then, there was a lot more kind of pre-prepared food, you know, packaged food, different ingredients. And then when you moved to England, it was much more. I mean, this was in the 80s, but English cuisine, if you want to call it that, was still very much kind of post-war. You know, it was very much meat and 3 vegetables. And then again, moving to New Zealand, you know, whole different world of ingredients and types of food. This is Dunedin in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, where a Chinese meal was considered pretty exotic back then.
My mother was really keen on trying the latest. So this is in the 70s, which is possibly not the right time to try the latest. So we lived on a lot of ham steaks with pineapple. And they also had lots of cocktail parties. So there were often, were they vol au vents?
Yeah,
vol-au-vents,
yeah.
So but she had the shape was a butterfly with amazing things. And I used to take those to school in my lunchbox and be the envy of all the kids at school. She was quite adventurous, but then my dad got really sick, and so then we lived on food that had no salt in it for a decade or so, and I find that disappointing.
Yeah, I actually enjoy it. I enjoy cooking.
He finds it relaxing.
I think it's I think I've heard this from a lot of people. Once you've done it commercially, once you've actually done it to order in a restaurant, because there's no fun in that at all. You know, it's a high pressure situation. But once you've done that, once you've stopped doing that, actually cooking at home I find very relaxing. It's very zen. I
think I lost enthusiasm for cooking when I was living alone with my daughter and making 21 meals a week. When I was little, growing up, I watched Carol Burnett on television in a sketch comedy show, but she did this bit where she'd go out and sit on a stool and chat with the audience, microphone, stool, that was it. And I thought that looked amazing and I wanted to do that too. So I didn't know what that was called, but I worked out later that it's called stand-up comedy. So I started doing it in the early 90s.
So yeah, I got into comedy through other things that I'd been doing. I trained as an actor, and then when I was at university in Otago, got involved in capping reviews and then into sketch comedy. I was part of a sketch comedy group called This Is Not a Drill, which ran for weekly show for 2.5 years. And as we went over that 2.5 years, the sketches just got more and more elaborate, to the point that somebody had to go on stage and kill time with the audience while people were changing costumes and stuff. And that ended up being me. Well, me and one other guy. And that sort of is where the stand-up side of things started. And then when I moved up to Auckland, I just sort of found getting acting work was, as any actor will tell you, when you're starting out, quite difficult, and a lot of it's unpaid. So comedy just started being, it was something I could do at quite short notice to pay the rent. And then 20 years later, it's still paying the rent.
Because that's the joy of it, is that you don't have to wait to be cast, and you don't have to wait for somebody to choose you from an audition. You can just create your own work, really.
Yeah, you can make when you're starting out, you can phone a bar and say, can I come down next Friday and tell some jokes, and you don't have to rehearse. It's not like a play where you need sort of 8 weeks to put the whole thing together. You can just do it at short notice. I am a real sucker for American confectionery. Reese's cups, those peanut butter cups. I could very easily get addicted to them, and some idiot has started importing them into New Zealand, so you can get them here now. So yeah, they're dangerous. Yeah.
I'm with you on that. American confectionery is new to me, a childhood love of Jeremy's. So Twizzlers, thanks.
Yeah, well, I hope you enjoy the recipe, and good. Keep cooking for change. Good for you. Thanks for having me.
It tastes best when he cooks it, so get him over.